नमस्ते एभ्रिवान। आज अब हामी जाँदैछौँ नेक्स्ट डेस्टिनेसनतिर लन्डन हुँदै अब हामी जान्छौँ लन्डनबाट किङ्स क्रस स्टेसन। यो अन द वे परेको राम्रो राम्रो ब्युटिफुल घरहरू हेर्दै अगाडि जाउँ है। यो चाहिँ म अहिले चाहिँ लन्डन किङ्स क्रस स्टेसनमा छु। यहाँको भ्यूहरू, यहाँको टावर मुभ गरेर जस्तो लाग्छ, आकाश क्लियर छ। यहाँबाट म जाँदैछु एडिनब्रा, स्कटल्यान्ड। यो चाहिँ रहेको छ किङ्स क्रस स्टेसन। यहाँबाट चाहिँ अब हामी नेक्स्ट डेस्टिनेसनको ट्रेन लिन्छौँ। यो ब्याकग्राउन्डमा त्यहाँको ब्युटिफुल बिल्डिङहरू हेर्दै इन्जोय गर्दैछौँ। हजुर पनि गर्नुहोस्। स्टारबक्स स्टेसन, किङ्स क्रस स्टेसन। यहाँ चाहिँ अब आफ्नो पालो आएपछि मात्रै जान पाइयो, भित्र टिकट छिर्न पाइएन। फ्लाइट नम्बर हो 5 नम्बर हो, यसमा जानुपर्छ सर्भिस स्टेसन। इङ्ल्यान्डबाट स्कटल्यान्ड भन्ने देशतिर यसरी छ। इङ्ल्यान्ड, स्कटल्यान्ड। चरिरहेछन्, यसै पुरै धान खेत के खेत हो, सब फाँटहरू बजेसम्म कि हावा चलिरहेको छ, चिसो छ मौसम। हरियाली हेर्नुहोस्, हरियाली भन्दा नि क्लियरली कहाँसम्म देखिन्छ भ्यू हेर्नुहोस्। यो चाहिँ म एडिनब्रा आइपुगेको छु। एडिनब्रा आइपुगेको छु। एडिनब्रा हाई स्ट्रिटमा यहाँ हाई स्ट्रिट आएको छु एडिनब्रामा। यस्तो छ घाँस छ, यो हेरी पोटर casserole. Scotland, Edinburgh. आज शनिबार रातिको लगभग बेलुकाको 8 बज्यो आज यहाँ सनसेट भनेको 10 बजे मात्रै हुन्छ अब यहाँ सबै पार्टी गर्ने खाने घुम्ने यो चाहिँ स्टेचु परेवाले आथिको
real. If we get it, ladies, tops off. Yes, guys, trousers down. Everybody's gonna wiggle, and we're gonna make the news. You get that camera ready. Here we go. This one's real. Join in. This trick is easy. It's not about the trick. It's about building the crowd. Here we go. Last one.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Forever. Okay. I'll put my trousers on.
बिहानको समय Edinburgh अझ उठ्या छैन हिजो पार्टी गरेर कोही मान्छे छैन 7 बजेसम्म आज सन्डे सब चिल गरेर सुतिरहेको जस्तो छ यो चाहिँ Edinburgh
connection there, and then that word Beha for life. The name Macbeth derives from the Gaelic Macbehed, meaning son of life as well. Just a little interesting thing there. I've actually got this really crazy story that involves my 91-year-old gran that drinks whiskey for breakfast and has whiskey in her porridge, and it's all to do with the most famous heist in Scottish history. So there's Baron, he's on the right hand side. He's kind of his hand from there, he's like he's laughing. Mother was a hamster, and your father smells of elderberries. I fought in your general direction. Excellent film. 50th anniversary of Monty Python and the Holy Grail this year, by the way.
So people that stay like in this neighborhood, like for an Airbnb, they do little like country walks.
Yeah,
That's
kind
why
of
they
things like
stay.
that. Yeah, this. I'll tell people about Calendar just now. Yeah, hang on 1 second. This is Calendar, folks. This little town. Some people call Calendar the Florida of Scotland.
Why?
I don't see any alligators,
I don't see.
but it's because the average age here is 68. A lot of people. Another guy made a joke to me that. Yeah, that's a streak of bad ones. This is a nice Victorian town. You see all this Victorian architecture. That's largely because of Queen Victoria herself. She really opened up tourism to the Highlands, and that's how Calendar evolved into this town we see today. Queen Victoria, she began holidaying in the Highlands. She wrote about how much she loved holidaying here. There's a car coming right behind it. Yeah, see that. She wrote about how much she loved holidaying here, and she wrote in her journals about how she loved Scotland. And when her journals were published in London, Victoria's journals sold more copies than Charles Dickens' novels.
Wow.
So she really was the kind of this media influencer of her time, and people thought, do you know what, if Scotland's good enough for Vicky, it's good enough for me. So people began flocking up to the Highlands. From a decommissioned railway now, so it's not really a railway per se anymore. We can still cycle across it. It's a cycle path now.
Wow.
And I kind of see it as like the Timu version of the Glenfinnan Viaduct, which is the one that of what Scotland looked like in the 6th century. The name Scotland didn't exist yet. Not until, the idea of a Scottish kingdom didn't exist until the 9th century. So before that, there was always different ethnic groups and people speaking different languages. In the northwest of Scotland, which is the Gaelic name for Edinburgh, Dunedin. So these Gaelic speaking people, they went on to all these different places. And we took, even though, because they took their language with them, Gaelic has actually survived quite well outside of Scotland. There are more Scottish Gaelic speakers in Nova Scotia in Canada than there is in Scotland. But thankfully it is recovering, it's doing quite well. There's silly lowlanders like me learning Gaelic when it's not even mine. But I thought you might find that interesting, a little bit about Gaelic language, and now I'm going to show you some Gaelic music. I thought that would be a great way to introduce you guys to some Gaelic. So I'm going to show you a type of Gaelic song called a walking song. So if you've ever seen season 1 of Outlander, there's actually a scene that really explains this well. Claire comes into this village and there's about 10 women or so around this big room. Women would sing a different verse line, and then when they would sing this repeating chorus line again. It had this kind of call and response rhythm to it. So I'm going to show you a walking song that's got a little bit of instruments added to it as well. It's by an artist called Kathleen McInnes, and the song is called Gaelic Me Mochmadin Haichin, which means I woke up early on a misty May morning. Right, this is Ben de Rain right here, by the way, like Triangular Mountain. Even though there's a lot less trees, it really helps you understand just how Scotland has been affected by the glacier. Black Duncan got hold of that castle was he paid an Englishman to go and let his horse feed on the barley outside the castle. And when the Fletchers that owned the castle came outside, they shouted at him in Gaelic saying, "Don't let your horse eat our barley." And being English, he didn't understand, so he didn't listen to them. And then the Fletchers went back inside, grabbed a pistol, and shot him and killed him on the spot. Poor English guy. And then Black Duncan Campbell, who's orchestrated this whole thing, he's hiding in the bushes. He walks down as if he just walked into this by accident, and he goes, "Ooh, you shouldn't have done that. You might get prosecuted for killing that guy. If I were you, I would, maybe lay low in France for a while, and so you avoid persecution. If you want, I can look after the castle for you whilst you're gone." Today, so I was on a Loch Ness tour yesterday, and the visibility wasn't nearly as good as this guy, so very lucky with this weather.
So we're going to see him?
Get to see who, sorry?
Nessie.
It's a she, actually. Her name is.
know that.
I'll have you know her name is Vanessa.
Really?
Yes.
So funny.
And she's quite shy, and that's because there was this guy called Columba that was really mean to her 1500 years ago, and I'll explain all about that, but she's got confidence issues now thanks to that Irish monk, and I'll explain it's. So we've got very good visibility. Also, yesterday, because of 40-mile-an-hour winds, the boat got cancelled, but the boat's definitely going to run today, guys, because it's good weather today, so lucky today. I had to refund everyone their tickets and everything, so.
Is it a covered boat?
It is, yeah, it's a covered boat. It's got an indoor bit and an outdoor bit, so you can sit on the roof if you want. You can sit inside. You've got a bar on it. You've got toilets. So
Okay.
several different kinds of luxuries. Yeah. You can tell quite a lot about me because my body would be that well preserved. If you've ever had any smoky whiskey before, that smokiness often comes from peat. Peated whiskey. In their heads they must be like, wee! I'm getting so fast, wee! King William says, I'd love that. So he comes over, and James is terrified to meet his son-in-law in battle, so he ends up actually fleeing to France, and William is able to take the throne unopposed. And of the Boyne in the year 1690 in Ireland. So James's forces are defeated, and William is able to maintain his position on the throne. Now, even though William has maintained as if it wasn't for the sheriff not being there in Inverness, so we intended to sign it on time but weren't able to. So can you let King William know that, so that way, you know, we can, we'll be safe. And the Campbells go, of course guys, yeah, no worries. We'll put in a... Far right hand side is called the Isle of Discussion. And the reason why is because whenever the MacDonald men were having beef and were in a dispute, they would both be left on that island with oat cakes, cheese and whiskey, and they wouldn't be allowed to return to the mainland until they had solved that dispute and found some kind of resolve.
Because that's super expensive.
Relatively.
Okay.
But for a pod, that's essentially just a tent but more sturdy.
It's the nouveau, it's the hip thing. It's gotta be cool. Cool experience.
And I've seen there were ones in Glencoe that were like 400 or 500 a night, which is crazy.
This is Loch Linnie. Yeah, Loch Linnie. Linnie. It's a sea loch, as you can see, because it's like of a sea boats and such. This side, big long glen. You know, I'm actually getting a pair of custom earrings made based on discoveries at Burrhead.
Oh really?
Is it Burrhead or Burrhead?
Birdhead.
Burrhead. No worries, because is Murray the region?
Yes.
Yeah, and what they found was that the Picts, they didn't have any currency, but they would have came into contact with coins and stuff.
Yeah.
And so it seems like they didn't have any use for using them as currency, so there was 2 puncture holes in the coins, so it seems like they hammered them and then they used them. Really looks impregnable, Fort George. It's an insane fort, much like more early modern kind of fortress. So yeah, Fort William. What I find interesting is that the place names of places can often tell you a lot about, you know, between different languages can tell you a lot about the politics and the way people think. And so Fort William, directly translated into Gaelic, should be Dun Uliam. Dun meaning fort or castle, and Uliam meaning William. However, in Gaelic, Fort William is Angiristan, and that translates as the garrison. And it makes sense because, of course, the Gaelic-speaking people, who were the ones that were murdered under the orders of King William of Orange, wouldn't want to refer to William's name when referring to Fort William, so they'll just call it the garrison. So he's a bit like Voldemort here. You don't see, guys, a clan battle, because I've not really described many battles so far. I mentioned Bannockburn briefly, but I'm going to tell you about a battle that took place right here in the Great Glen, one of the bloodiest clan battles that ever took place in the history of Scotland. Not because of the number of men that died or were injured, but because of the proportion of the armies on either side that were killed. Extremely high casualty rates. And I want you to try and use your imagination here, and a bit of, and just imagine that you are part of a column of men travelling along where this road, the direction of this road that we're going along now. A column of mostly Clan Fraser and Clan Grant men. So the Grants and the Frasers are allies, and they live at the ford towards. And you've been part of a big army of soldiers, roughly between 400 and 600 men, we believe, making their way up the Great Glen here on this side, in your force. And when they see you heading up this way, coming back along this side of the loch, John of Moidart and his clan Ranulph and Camerons start quickly heading along the north side of the loch, on the other side over there, hidden from view. And then all of a sudden, by the time you and your army get to the end of Loch, a staircase of canal boat lifts. We've got some boats using them just now. So see they're equalising the water just there. So you can bring the boats up the boat lift. So this
strange spectacle of Loch Ness, in which the term Loch Ness Monster was first used. The legend was reformed and
avoid running about and keep opening and shutting the doors to the duty of care of the environment, and place all garbage in the bins provided. And please do not throw anything overboard. Normal licensing laws apply to
many years later, by which time he was not quite so bonny and very unhappy.
Unfortunately, the fact that the prince remained uncaptured proved a problem for one particular man who bore a striking resemblance.
अब यहाँ केकमा बसेको बनेको बसेको घर हो रमाइलो भयो रमाइलो
Just approaching the Clonswood Harbour and the Edinburgh cruise. I'd like to thank you all for sailing with us. I wish you a pleasant onward journey. When we arrive in the harbour and we're safely tied up, you'll all be able to go ashore at the front of the ship and also the back of the ship on the lower deck. Thank you.
Se mueven con elegancia.
With that. So you can tell by the way the stone looks, it's so new. It's certainly not a medieval castle by any standard. It's very pretty, very beautiful building, but not medieval. So that's another candidate for where we think there was a hill. I think that's the prime, because we found evidence of people living at Craigfadrig in the 6th century when Columba and Breda were around. So that's why I think it was Craigfadrig. % wildcat. But hopefully that's enough wildcat that they can flourish and survive in the Cairngorms. And so it'd be nice to see some of those. But they're very elusive and there's very few. It's very controlled, very carefully watched to make sure no one interferes. In case anyone's got any bad ideas, trying to take one home as a pet. And oh, that's a really nice old white car there.
सबैजनालाई वेलकम छ म अहिले छु स्कटल्यान्डको एउटा गाउँमा यति राम्रो राम्रो घरहरू छ के छ रमाइलो छ ढुक्क परेको राम्रो घर अहिले बेलुकाको लगभग 7:30 8 बजे छ उज्यालै छ राति 9-10 बजेसम्म उज्यालै हुन्छ पुरै उज्यालो हुन्छ
So people not only needed to be able to get crossed over safely, they needed to feel confident in the bridge's structure. And so we made it really, really well engineered, about 5 to 10 times stronger than it had to be. So yeah, not the most expensive school you can go to in Scotland, the poshest, most private school of them all. It's called Fettes College. So as we drive over here, have a look between these two buildings, folks. On the left, look at the gap between these two buildings. See that big parliamentary looking building there?
Yeah, wow.
That's Fettes College. It can cost up to £38,000 a year to send your children to Fettes. But still, that's a famous guy that went to Fettes College.
And Daniel Craig.
Did he? Daniel Craig. Alright, look that up. Just coming over Dean Bridge just now. So we're gonna get very close to concluding our tour to Loch Ness, folks. We're just back in the new town of Edinburgh. I just want to say, folks, as one last time, actually I forgot to say this at the start of the day, so I'll say it now to make sure I've said it. Big welcome to Scotland. I hope you guys have had a really lovely time here so far. and I hope today has been part of that trip, has been part of that experience. In fact, you might get me again. I might have a big bushy beard and I'll be twice the weight.
Why?
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, just doing a job where I'm sat on a bus all day might do that to me. And if you want a good whiskey bar, that's the Angel Share there on the right. That's a big selection of whiskies. The Angel Share, obviously, that loss of whiskey in the cask. On the left-hand side, that's Butte House, across right directly opposite the square from us. It's the office of the First Minister of Scotland, who's the leader of our devolved government here. You wouldn't know that, even though it's like our equivalent of Downing Street or the White House. And that's purely because there's no guards with submachine. It's great to visit. Or my biggest recommendation for Edinburgh is go to the train station and go to the ticket office and say, can I get a single to Glasgow Green Street, please? Because I think Glasgow is easily. Definitely recommend other places like Glasgow or Stirling's a fantastic place, small city/town to go and visit. I recommend the National Museums here in Edinburgh as well because they're taxpayer funded, and so that means if it's on a rainy day and you want to take the kids somewhere, for example, they're free entry for anyone because they're taxpayer funded, and it's a great way to sort of really fund museums. You can learn so much. The National Museum of Scotland is on Chambers Street in the Old Town, but you can also go and see the. Oh, would you look at that? Another bloody castle. It's